a lot of businesses and a lot of courses that teach a method to making money are teaching the one thing they did that they've now saturated, and they've now sold that idea thousands of times over. And every new customer they bring in is your direct competition. So they're literally like ruining the method as they scale this out, which there's some simplicity in that. Just go do this one thing, just like all the other thousands of people who bought into it. Unfortunately, it makes it more difficult for every single person in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to teach you, that's giving them a fish. Go ahead, Kevin. Yeah, jump on that, because this is an important distinction.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a few little rabbit holes to go down in this. Number one is I always feel like it's important to look at the person that you're buying something from, to see, I think we talked about this in a previous video, but to see if they had like some kind of advantage that you don't have.
Yeah.
But also to see if they maybe hit lightning in a bottle for one thing and they couldn't do it again. And so they sell it as a method, right? Like the idea is like people wonder so many times why it's like only 3% of the people that buy a course succeed. Well, it's usually because of the sins of omission of the person who's teaching the course. They don't tell you the one thing, like, you know, it's like if the thing is so good and it's so amazing, then why, if you've only got one thing, right? If this is the secret method,
yeah,
why would you share it, right?
You'd never tell anybody.
That's right. I mean, I can tell you this, for my test prep business that we're going to talk about in this program, I didn't share it with anybody except my father for 15 years. Nobody knows what those sites are. And the reason is because they print money for me, right? So there is a reason that, like, let me pull back on that. I told a buddy when it first started really, really working, and he's a guy who is a famous guy who has a big software company that a lot of people know about. And it's not ClickFunnels, by the way, but it's just as big. And he, I showed it to him, showed him how fast it was scaling, showed him how great it was, and he was super happy for me. And then a month later, we're talking, and he has created a knockoff of what I'm doing. And this is a guy that I like really consider still to this day a friend. And he had no concept of the idea that he is like stealing my idea.
Right.
And like it didn't register to him, oh, wait a minute, I shouldn't do this too, because Kevin found this oil well that he is mining, just because I hadn't mined it to the point where he wanted to go. So to I guess put a fine point on it is, most times the reason that the person is teaching the thing is because it doesn't work. It quit working. They can't duplicate what their success case is. And so they figure out, okay, I can sell a $1,500 or $2,000 course and make that my business. And that's how so many people end up in the course business.
Right.
Excuse me. And that's something to be aware of. The reason that we're teaching it, so that's the first part. The second part is promising someone the single method, the magic button, the silver bullet sells in a recorded presentation. They will sell 3 times more than we will selling it the way we're selling it, and saying that there are variable choices you can make. There's lots of ways you can do this. Like, that hurts our conversions, but I would rather hurt our conversions and be honest with you than to promise you that writing an audiobook is the only key to riches, and it's the gold rush right now.
And before that, it was FBA, and before that, it was, and before that, it was, and on
make
and
a course and so on. Yeah.
And what we're really doing here is we're teaching you through the lens of 2 guys who have 40 plus years experience making money online. how to truly become an entrepreneur, right? To how to truly become someone who it requires thinking. There's some science, there's some art, and there's this kind of magic synthesis to catch that lightning strike, and then to build systems around it. So that's what we're ultimately teaching you how to do, which is why these are really deep dive and they're a little complex, but at the same time,
That's what Rick Sanchez said. He goes, the thing most people don't get about science is sometimes it's more art than science.
100%.
And that's part of this.
Yep. So I want to do a quick drawing. So could you make me host on this one real quick, Kevin? I'm going to do just a super quick screen share and show you why and how this actually does allow you and every other person who's watching this like you to find dozens of potential oil wells in your life. And we're never going to be on top of each other. There's no real competition worries at all. We're able to just all kind of continue moving forward here. So
Make you a co-host or the actual host?
Hey, I'm already there, man. I think, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we're here. So, and the idea is really quite simple. Now, we're going to be talking in this video about different ways that you can look at things. And this is probably not the prettiest Venn diagram that you've ever seen, but every one of us is a unique human being. So we're going to talk about possibly some of the platforms in this video here. We're going to talk about some of the lifestyle elements in this video here. And we're going to talk about some like personality traits in here. And when we find this little sweet spot in here, this is where you have a little tiny bit of a competitive advantage, a unique insight, something that you actually can bring to the world that's different from the next person. And the next person might have two of these same exact things overlapped with you. They might look on the same platform that we're talking about, and they might think about the same sort of like niche and area, but they might just have a different take or interest. And their little oil well is going to be over here. And this is, I want you to really understand and really comprehend that there is, like, we live in a world of abundance, and the opportunity that is around you with these oil wells is literally immeasurable. Kevin and I can continue to build ours. We will collab on them. You can build them, and thousands of other people can build them, because structurally speaking, when you look, we're going to layer things on in multiple ways here in this video. And your job, your kind of duty here is to put these pieces together in a way that's unique for you. And that's when the magic starts to happen. Okay. There's lots of testing that needs to be done. I just wanted to make sure that was kind of mapped out for people. I think everybody knows what a Venn diagram is, but I wanted to draw the ugliest Venn diagram in history for everyone. So now that we got that out of the way, any notes before we jump into the nuts and bolts?
Yeah. So I would say of those three, the interesting part about this, and part of the reason that I wanted to teach this, is that I feel like the prevailing wisdom right now is that there's only one way to make it or to be successful in this space. And what I mean by that is it's all like pedal to the metal, sell everything for high ticket. You're the two prevailing wisdoms right now are either become a coach or run an agency or something like that, or or sometimes they're telling you to start an FBA business or whatever. But the whole the underlying ethos of it all is more. It's more clients, it's more higher prices, it's more sales, it's more of everything. And what that to me becomes is a lifestyle that I have no desire for, right? Like I could go and work at almost any company that has like a sales type opportunity, and you could build up a 7-figure business selling a lot of stuff, whatever it is. But you sacrifice your life to do that. It's like you are a slave to the customers, you're a slave to the prospects, you're a slave to the things that own you because of this. And I think that the part of the ethos of digital oil wells is that you can build these things, but maintain your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And continue to have a lifestyle. Like, I got 3 kids, and I want them to actually have good memories of their childhood with me at home. I want them to think that dad was there, that if they wanted to go and hit golf balls or fish or whatever, that I was available. And so I just think that the idea of the lifestyle with the platform and all the stuff is a really important distinction, because there's so few people teaching that right now. They're either teaching it from the perspective of be a rich millionaire with a Lambo and it's easy to do it, which is BS, or they're teaching that you've got to grow, scale, have a $10 million business. And I can tell you that you can live a great life with a $2 million business. I mean, like, with a $2 million high profit business, you can live like the only difference between you and a billionaire is that he owns stuff that you rent, but that's the only difference.
100%. Totally. And, yep, let's jump in. So at this point, we're gonna talk about the different places you can look for your opportunity, and we're gonna be talking about lifestyle stuff. We're gonna be talking about things in your physical environment, and then obviously we're gonna be talking about things on the internet. But I think the first place that people should look into is their personal purchase history. You can learn a lot about yourself of where you spend your money. Okay. And a lot of us spend our money without really thinking that much of it. I'm going to get another one of these. And every human being, every family, every person has something they spend stupid money on. Okay. And stupid money, I'm a relatively frugal individual, and I always have been. I grew up in a poor family. I prefer to put my money in my investments versus putting it into physical things and tangible things. But with that said, there's this little world of sim racing, racing simulators. I have a racing simulator that has 6 degrees of motion, 3 gaming monitors, a fancy gaming computer, and I do wheel-to-wheel racing with other people all over the world, and it is an absolute blast. I love it. I love it. I have spent on the computer and the monitors and the rig and everything, it's in excess of $10,000. And I don't spend stupid money on things, but in that world, I spend my money freely. Now, this is potentially one of my circles. I'm not saying you, who might be uninterested in this, go into that circle and let's start talking about these other platforms and the other products that you can build around it. That's what I am looking at for me. And I know, and Kevin, you might be able to attest to this, that like golfers seem to spend a lot of money and time and energy in golfing and the identity of being a golfer. What other kind of ideas pop into your mind there?
So
Okay,
so I think golf is an overused example. I think the golf business is actually dying.
perfect. So what is a good example from your perspective?
Well, so let me give you 2 things. One, your sim racing thing. I didn't know that was a name of the thing, but I know that there's a buddy of ours in Newport Beach that we were friends with, Jason Chulakis, and he likes, so he used to have a Porsche. He's got a couple of Teslas now. And he used to race his Porsche, and he took it to a bunch of different tracks and stuff like that. And now in his office, he has this thing where he sits on it, and it's got steering wheels and it's got multiple monitors and all this stuff. I bet he's got the same thing that you have. It's got foot pedals. Like
pressure sensitive, so it feels like a brake pedal and a gas. And so mine has actual actuators that move. So I have 6 degrees of motion.
Yeah,
so
his does too. I mean, it's like being in a real car. And so the fact that I know 2 people who have those, that's a crazy thing, right? So the thing I would say, just to think about, is some of the ones that everybody says that are the cliches, like golf. There are golfers who spend a lot of money on golf, but generally speaking, the challenge with golf is that the big manufacturers have cornered the market in things that golfers really buy, honestly. Like you can there are niches within the golf niche where you could find some suckers or whatever, but generally speaking, like I buy my golf clubs from, TaylorMade, or like I'm not going to buy some club that you come up with the idea on. That being said, I know a guy who has a $40 million business selling these hacky clubs to people, but he runs ads on, he spends 30 million to sell 40 million. So it's a difficult, golf is a difficult one. And we can get into that another time, but I'll give you a good one that's easy that you could sell stuff for that would be like super easy to sell. It's on my hat right here. So buddies of mine, Rob Cosberg and a guy named Greg Garcia, who's my tax attorney, they both ride motorcycles. And Rob rides a Harley. Greg he's had 37 motorcycles in like 15 years, and didn't have a Harley, but now he has a Harley. But long story short, back in like November, I decided that I was going to, I'm 49 and a half years old. I decided I was going to start riding a motorcycle with these guys. I've never sat on a motorcycle in my life ever, like not once. And, but I decided, okay, I'm going to try to do this. So what did I do? First thing I did is I went out and bought a $20,000 Harley Heritage Softail Classic. Then I realized, hey, wait a minute, an 800-pound motorcycle, maybe that's a little bit much to start with on your very first one. So what did I do? Is I went and bought a Triumph for $6,000, which was to learn on. And then I started learning on the Triumph, and I realized, hey, wait a minute, this has completely different, like how you sit on it is different. It's kind of like the ones you lean forward on versus the Harleys, you kind of sit back. And I was like, so this isn't really apples to apples for learning it. So I went out and bought another $20,000 three-wheel Harley Davidson trike called a freewheeler. So with it, from November until January, I bought 3 motorcycles. And that's the kind of guy and thing that you're looking for, because I've also bought thousands of dollars worth of clothes. I buy $300 blue jeans that have.
So again, the idea that I'm wanting to kind of place here is look into your personal spending, because we all spend money on the things that we identify with and that we're interested in. A lot of people be like, I don't have any interests. I don't have any patience. But if you look at your credit card statement and where the money is flowing, that is it. Some other examples are like boating. Okay. Wakeboarding. I live on a lake up here. When people get in a wakeboard, from the boat to the wakeboard, like there's a million and one little accessories, and we'll talk about the things and where to find the actual things. But the first and foremost, I just want you to think about those parts of your life, those areas of your life, stand-up paddleboarding, snowboard. There's all of these kind of activities, and these are the things that people identify with. And when you've got a group of people who identify with a certain thing, whether it's sim racers or snowboarders or motorcycle riders, that is the kind of entrance into a group of people that we can ultimately find what's selling, create specific things, test different offers, and eventually find an oil well, because people spend lots of money on the things they spend lots of money on. It sounds kind of ridiculous, but Kevin's willingness to buy keychains and branded t-shirts and coffee mugs and posters on the wall and garage art, all of these things stems from, we're not saying sell motorcycles. We're saying that when people get into this world and get consumed by this, it's an identity that they want to display. And as you're going to see in this video, we go through some of the ideas of how you can possibly help people display that sort of identity. Another space is domain knowledge. So domain knowledge is just something that you're flat out super knowledgeable about, something that other people ask you for help with all of the time, and potentially something that you've been doing professionally for a while. This is obviously looking towards those course creators, the people who have some sort of an expertise and an ability to help others create a result consistently. You've been doing it professionally. You've been doing it one-on-one. This can lead into the course world. We said on the previous video that's a difficult nut to crack, especially if you're new, but there's absolutely a group of people, if you have that domain knowledge, if you're like, man, this is what I've been doing. I've been doing it for 15 years. I help people put design their own gray water systems for their house for sustainability, build permaculture. You've been doing permaculture design for hundreds of projects, and you want to now teach people how to design their own permaculture gardens. It's these kinds of things that you can start to think about that can open up one of those Venn diagram circles. Do you have anything on the domain knowledge side of things, Kevin? Yep.
Yes.
So, right, the hustler secret, right? So it's that knowledge of how the head speed and the ball and the spin and what Vaseline does in that scenario. It was the understanding of that allowed you to put that goop in that can and ultimately sell millions of dollars worth of
yeah. And I wasn't saying don't do golf earlier because I'm trying to thwart the competition. It's just that I've tried to sell lots of other things in the golf market, and
you've got the experience.
They haven't done as well as this one. Yep. And this one is a magic button, right? It's the easy button. I will say, as far as domain knowledge, one thing that I find easier to do than courses is if you have domain knowledge that translates into a physical product. It a lot of times is much easier to sell, and then eventually maybe you sell a course or something on the back end of that if you want to. But like I can give you an example. A friend, when I told them about Hustler Secret, she lived in an old house in Atlanta, and they had plaster walls, and there was this thing that it was like a home remedy type thing that they did. When they were nailing pictures in the plastic walls, I guess apparently when you would nail a picture in, it would crack the plaster a lot of times. But they had a thing where, I forget what it was, but it was like something that you would put there and run and nail it in through this thing. It was something like some sort of little piece of plastic or something. I forget what it was, but it was a common everyday thing that you could buy for super cheap. And she rebranded it, had these made herself, and now they're in real stores everywhere. Yeah. And she sells them for plaster walls. And so that was just a little very I think maybe it was corn pads that you buy for your toes. That she used, something like that. But it was just this weird little thing, and you would nail a nail through it and it wouldn't make a hole in your plaster. And but the point is that it was unique, like personal knowledge that she had, and a lot of people had this little problem, and she sort of figured out a way to make those and rebrand them, and it's a business now. She doesn't make millions off of it, but she
the great oil well.
Yeah, makes a full-time living off of it.
And so on the idea of leveraging domain knowledge, this even beyond physical products can go into software. So I've got a lot of knowledge about keyword research, the right way, the wrong way to do it. I'm creating a piece of software that instead of a course, right, instead of selling somebody for $197, here's how to do it. I want to give them software that it guides you through the process. So you're guaranteed to get kind of the output. You just follow the steps and follow the prompts, do the input, and you get the output. And again, that's stemming from the domain knowledge. It's also important to go even farther on domain knowledge. Like, this doesn't have to be professional. Knitting, quilting, there's all kinds of areas, even all the way into like wine and collectibles. Okay. So Funkos and just all of the different collectibles in the world. There's these levels of domain knowledge that some people know which Pokemon cards are worth something and which Pokemon cards are worth nothing. Domain knowledge. So again, where do you have domain knowledge that you can potentially leverage? And whether it's creating something that solves a problem, or whether it's understanding the culture and understanding the identity in an ability to make a t-shirt design, a coffee mug design, a saying that just people identify with, and they see it and they're like, I got to have that. That's me. And they think it says something about themselves, and they want to physically display that for other people, which is, we'll kind of get into a little bit more of that. But right now,
can I say one thing about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, for sure. Please.
You brought something to mind. So, and maybe we'll do a supplemental video on this as a bonus or something, like new opportunities for oil wells. But there's a new thing happening with the crypto world, with the blockchain, called NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And the NFT market is opening up a vast new class of potential oil wells that people can create.
Right.
It's mind-boggling what this can do for so many industries. But to give you, so the idea, non-fungible token, something that's fungible is something that's interchangeable with any other thing like it, like $5 bill. Every $5 bill is the same as every other $5 bill, right? So $5 is $5. Whereas if you buy, the best analogy I've heard is like if you buy tickets to a concert, you have a ticket, but one ticket could be for the front row, one ticket could be for the nosebleeds, and a ticket could be for tonight's show or for next week's show. So it's non-fungible. In other words, you can't interchange a ticket for a ticket. So what's happening in the world of crypto is they are creating these things called NFTs, which is like what you're talking about with Pokemon cards, except they're digital and they are unique. And so what's happening for the first time ever is they have figured out a way to make digital assets scarce. And so like artists are making pieces of art and selling them as NFTs. And the only person that ever gets that unique piece of art is the person who buys it. But what's really interesting about this, beyond the gold rush that's happening in that market right now, is the fact that if it ever gets sold again, the way that it works is you can set it up in the actual piece that you get paid a percent of the sale in perpetuity. So if they buy it from you for $1,000 and then they sell it later for $1 million, you might get 10% of that million and make $100,000 on a subsequent sale. So
right.
it's just a whole
pre-programmed
new
in the smart contract.
That's right.
Yep.
So we can get, I don't want to get us off track, but in the future we'll do a video about that.
And I mean, so like companies like Topps, right, that makes baseball cards, they're making NFTs. The NBA is making NFTs. So it's something that's going to have its own hype cycle, but it is absolutely like a new technology that's here based on blockchain technology and
yeah, a guy named Beeple
contracts.
sold a piece of art for $69 million like a few weeks ago.
And so artists can sell art is kind of like, if I wanted to structure that into a framework, like artists can sell art. There's always a marketplace for art. There's new distribution channels and there's new royalty streams possibilities, but art is art in another sense. I think the greater idea of crypto is kind of one thing that you're touching on is like your domain knowledge. Like you just started to go down that path of expressing your domain knowledge, your personal interests, your personal kind of infatuation with this world of NFTs and what you see it going to be. There's also the possibility for an individual who's kind of there with you to possibly sell information, possibly have a newsletter, possibly have another type of oil well to help people understand this crypto space that moves so quickly and all of the projects that move so quickly. And obviously there's a lot of oil wells from Substacks that I subscribe to, et cetera, et cetera. And I think so there's almost like a meta way to look at what you were just like, you went way down the rabbit hole that's going to be non-relevant for most people watching this in the short term. But the fact that that's there and that it's in you is like, that's the sign I want the viewer to look for, is those things that kind of are like, you see, Miles, this isn't a short-term thing. This is an absolute shift in the world of everything from collectibles to art to possibly sporting, all of this.
Yeah,
we're in a new normal. Like our world is, we are literally getting off the highway onto a new highway at this point in time. And you see it, bingo. And you even said in other videos, you're infatuated with crypto and you think that there's a lot of possibility for these kinds of oil wells. So let's go. I want to go into the physical house for people. I want to walk people through their house. And again, we've mentioned before the power of observation, right? Like Kevin, you've said, becoming a noticer. And so the first idea is like, where are you spending money? Where's the money kind of coming in? Where is your attention pulled on that idea that we were just talking about of like the consuming idea of crypto, looking in, what are you reading about? What are you studying? What subreddits are you just constantly loading? What part of Twitter do you go down? Like, what are those rabbit holes that you are just constantly going down, because that can often lead you to the idea. But then when you start to look around your physical environment, you start to notice that there's a lot of opportunities around in every direction. So like you can start from the kitchen. Okay. Instapot is one of these things that just popped out recently. And for those folks who get it, they bought an Instapot, they understand the Instapot, and it is a life changer for them because they got kids and now they're cooking more at home and XYZ. There's a whole world of potential contents, micro recipe books, PDFs that can be sold in a million and one ways. But here's the thing, right? We need that extra Venn diagram. It's not just the Instapot recipes. It's Instapot recipes for vegans. It's Instapot recipes for keto diet. It's Instapot recipes for weight loss, and on it can go. So to like think of the kitchen, then what else is in the kitchen? It's your supplement cabinet, right? It's the food. It's the smoothie maker that you might have that you make this smoothie. It's the sauces and the spices that you're getting. I met a friend in Mexico who sells, get this, premium salt. And their premium salt is sold through affiliates. It is probably some of the most expensive salt in the world. It's the same salt you get on the side of the road in Mexico. There's these you just get salt on the side of the road, but he built a brand and a story around it because he found this stuff on a surf trip, and he is selling hundreds of thousands of dollars of premium salt. He just, a couple of ideas clashed together. That's saltrevolution.com if you want to go check that out. And then there's the world of snacks, right? Like, do you run a dehydrator, or do you create your own dehydrated foods? Like are you into vegan snacks, keto snacks, dehydrated things, protein snacks? Folks who want to bulk up and gain muscle want a certain type, there's all of these facets. And what I'm trying to do again is show you all of these overlapping Venn diagrams that you probably have in your life. You've just not run it through that filter yet. Do you have anything to pop in on the kitchen side of things at this point, Kevin? Because I'm gonna go through the other rooms in the house next relatively quickly.
So I would say in our kitchen, coffee is a thing. So I have a thing called a Chemex, and
oh yeah,
I like to so there's a guy named Dave Asprey who is a buddy of mine. He started a company called Bulletproof Coffee. It's not an oil well at this point. It's a big business, but we subscribe to his coffee monthly. We get like 8 bags a month, and then we have all these different things that we do with the coffee. My wife found out that she doesn't need to be doing caffeine. And so now she buys this new stuff that just came out called Mud Water, that is making inroads currently as we speak.
Being marketed aggressively on YouTube.
That's right. And then we have a big alcohol center in our kitchen dining room area.
We call that a bar.
yeah, big bar, I guess. But so I've got a bar that goes outside, and then I've got all my alcohol on this other thing, piece of furniture, and so there's all sorts of things that come with that. We have the big cubes for old fashions. Yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question about that? Do you have any signs? Do you have any happy hour type signs? Any of the wooden plank type things around, or stated another way, what kinds of, outside of the bottles and the consumables, like what are the other things that are around, the lights, the look, like the show off side of it? Is there anything like that in your?
So my wife doesn't allow me to do stuff like that, but there would be if she did. But I will say, we do have like this cool bottle opener thing that's like this vintage looking bottle opener thing, and then all of our paraphernalia. We have a full bar kit.
That's the word.
We do big cubes for old fashions, so we've got like 8 of those. I've got all the different stemware for different kinds of drinks. We've got tequila flutes. We've got Scotch glasses. We've got old fashioned glasses.
Tumblers,
we've got
buckets,
wine glasses.
100%.
All the stuff for that. And then for my wife, she's a wine drinker, so she has the aerators and the decanters and all the stuff for that. And then we have when we go and travel, we generally try to buy something from there. One of the things we buy is coffee mugs. Another thing is bar stuff that has the names of the places on it. Like if my wife likes margaritas, so she'll get margarita glasses from all over the world. She gets coffee cups from all over the world, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So those are just a couple of our
Now
things.
I'm going to jump in and share the screen for a quick second here. I've pulled up just the wine decanter idea, because people might be thinking like, okay, I get it. And when you said the word paraphernalia, we're there. That's the word I have not actually used that I'm trying to get at over and over, is that there's a core interest, there's an identity. Okay, I'm a happy hour time, I'm a motorcycle rider, I'm a sim racer, and then there's all kinds of paraphernalia that supports that identity. And that is where the oil wells are. Now I'm just showing, and we're going to show other types of platforms and other examples, but I literally just went to Alibaba and I typed in wine decanter here on top, and we can go down on this page. And look, there are all kinds of wine decanters.
I like
now,
that
you
second
might,
one. That's cool.
right. These are literally nifty things. And okay, so 500 pieces. Down here on the minimum order, you could say less than 50, and we could see what actually has less than 50. So Alibaba, if you don't know, is a marketplace out of China, and there is a lot of items sold. And you can essentially, so right here, you can buy 48 of these decanters for under $4 each. Now, if we go next to Etsy, which I'm going to go to here, so let's go to Etsy. And we've talked about in the past, becoming an entrepreneur is about buying and selling. Oftentimes, I'm not saying go invent the wine decanter. They're already invented. They're already being made. It's
Right.
finding what you're interested in enough. You know wine culture. You know wine. You know why this wine decanter is cool. You can make your own pictures of it. You'd be happy to have one and share it with friends, type thing. So let's go here and let's type in wine decanter. I think I'm spelling. Okay, I'm spelling it right. That's good. Oh my gosh, we saw this one. This one right here. I know for a fact I just saw this one. Oh, I need to go back before the 50.
Yeah.
That's it right there, isn't it?
That's it.
So literally right here. So this thing by 10 pieces, $4.49 to $5.49, selling right here for $39.95 with free shipping. So whoever this person is,
I'd give free shipping too if I was able to 10x the price.
So what did they do? So they went over here to Ollie, and this is the shipping. It's coming from China, right? So you're going to wait a few weeks to get this in your hands. That's fine. You can get a few of these going. So they obtain these, you get 10 of these, they turn around, they list it on Etsy, they 10x the price. Are they selling? They're running ads to it.
Hey,
Which I like.
Go back to that. Go back to Etsy again.
Well, one quick second. One thing I want to show people, when I clicked in on the order on Etsy, you can see up here that they have 31 sales. Okay, so I can literally run the math on here and I can see they've already had 31 sales. I like seeing more than that generally when I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
$1,200 for 31 of them, and you could buy 3 sets of 10 from here.
Well, that's what I was going to say is that it's on the page twice. It's in the top left and in
organic. Yep.
Yeah.
It's ranking organic. And so the organic pushes up from the sales volume, from the number of sales and the review, right? That's their algorithm kind of outputting. And this is the, I'm just going to buy this and stuff it up there. So
I like the one with the personalized oak stopper. That's cool.
Oh, right here at top. Totally. And I mean,
that's how you look how many have sold of that 4,900, right?
Yeah. Well, it's even more because that's just the reviews. So probably 10,000 or more. 46,740 sales.
Yeah. So this is an example of taking something that is readily available on Alibaba and adding just a slight personalization to it and making it significantly more desirable.
Right.
Which I think is one of the keys.
It is ultimately. And so what we're doing here is, so we've been bouncing around from different rooms in the house, from different, fascinations that we have, hobbies, etc. Then what are the perimeter kind of paraphernalia around that? And then what does a marketplace have to say about this? And then can I go get these kinds of things? Bingo. And this is, so when I was saying with those Venn diagrams, like you can find the thing that works incredibly well for you, and in the community, we can all support each other. And that's because there's a billion of these things when you come up with the angle, the overlap, the hook, the platform, the room, the paraphernalia, et cetera, et cetera. I want to jump into a couple other rooms, but yeah, feel free.
Let's say two things about the kitchen. One is, I think that we're moving into a time. So there was originally, before the Industrial Revolution, people were primarily self-employed, like they ran a farm, or maybe they ran the local sawmill, or I'm thinking about Little House on the Prairie, right? You got the guy that runs the country store, the guy that runs the sawmill, the
Like the
guy
blacksmith.
that as the blacksmith, and the guy that and all the farmers.
Shoes the horses.
That's right. And I think that the Industrial Revolution, that people moved out of the country into the cities, and they built these big factories and companies and all this sort of stuff. I think that time has ended. It's over. Like you don't go to work at a company and work there for 40 years anymore. I think that the world is moving back to the self-employed world status. And so these little businesses that we're talking about, this is not like pie in the sky BS here. This is there are lots of people making their real living doing this. And
Absolutely.
the reason I said all that is to say, one of the things that we buy is we buy a box. We used to buy Butcher Box, which is like a big company, but we buy a box of meat every month from a farm in Texas.
Yep.
And we saw them on YouTube, and it's a husband and wife, and they run a farm, and they have cows, and they have pigs, and they have chickens. And we know how they handle the animals. Yeah. And they make us a box every month, and we are subscribed to it. And they make their living because we are customers of theirs.
Right. It's community sponsored agriculture in kind of a way of thinking of it.
It feels good, right? I mean,
Yep.
It feels good to know how they're treating the animals, that all that. And then also for us personally, I feel much better about supporting a small guy who is out there trying to live his own life, with some dignity and character, versus a big company that is just, we're just another number on a spreadsheet. So,
and I got to give a shout out to Wild Idea Buffalo that's out of South Dakota. The only red meat I consume is this buffalo meat, and I purchase it all from them. And the way they care for the grasslands and the way they care, it's regenerative agriculture. It stands for everything I stand for, and it's the protein that I'm interested in. And they created an oil well based on their passions, and now they've created a lifestyle business. And I think it is worth saying that in the beginning, we talked about you're going to test a lot of different things, and some of these are going to be potentially scalable, and you may want to chase down that really large business, the powdered greens Organifi that sells, I think, 8 figures per year. It just kind of started out as a test, really. Even I would say Bulletproof Coffee kind of.
Of course it did. Dave told me the story. He
right. Him and his yak and couldn't get around in the Himalayas and needed some, so a lot of these ideas that we'll get into can literally become INC 500 businesses if you want to go there, but they also could be wonderful little hustles to where you're making $2,600 a month or $115, $112 a month selling wine decanters and other wine stuff. And you really like testing new wine, like you love that world. And it becomes a fun addition to your life that generates cash flow, and it moves you from being reliant on the corporations who do not have your best interest in mind over to being in complete control while building the skill of observing, identifying, creating value in the lives of others. And sometimes that means buying things from here and listing them over there, creating value in the lives of others.
Yeah. So these people that run this farm, I've extrapolated out what I think their revenue is. It's not a ton. I think it's in the low hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. And I think that they probably make low 6 figures of profit, like maybe 100 to 200,000 a year profit, max 200,000, probably more. If I had to guess, they're making 120 to 150 grand a year profit, but they live on their farm. They take care of their animals. They live. That's right. And how powerful is that? Right. I mean, they have a simple life. They love it. They love what they do. And they're able to maintain a life without having to sell their hours to anybody else.
And when you look at like big agriculture and the debt and the suicide rates in farmers, my grandfather was a farmer in North Dakota. That's remarkably well for that world. So I'm gonna shift us into the bathroom. Everybody's got one in their house. Everybody's in there from time to time, and everybody does different things in there, and everybody cares about things differently in there. So for me, I shave. I'm always shaving. I have friends who love straight razors. There's this hipster straight razors, the beard trend. Like, come on, the hipster beard trend, it's there, right? And there's this whole like manscaping and group. So it's like, what do you care about? What do you spend time doing? So like straight razors, shaving cream, after shave. Soaps are something I'm going to talk about a little bit more here. I want to show a couple of examples. But there's a company called Dr. Squatch, drsquatch.com, like Sasquatch, Squatch. So this is like man soap. And they started testing soap offers through YouTube ads. And they have scaled this business to the point where they've literally purchased ad spots on the Super Bowl this last year, which is the most expensive video ad space in the world, because they tested their video ads through millions of impressions and views on YouTube ads. It started as a direct response business selling soap that I'm going to show you in a second is really easy to buy and resell, but that's where they started. And they just made the decision, we want to run a big business. The Dollar Shave Club guy wanted to build a really big business. That was a choice. It also could have been a little oil well to kick off a couple $100,000 a year, and that was it. Yep. To each their own. So now I am going to go and I'm going to load my screen real quick for you.
I think it's interesting while you're loading that. Yep. So I started a business with my daughter a few years ago selling hairbrushes, and we were just trying. So one of the things we do a thing called unschooling with our kids. And one of the things that we had is every one of my kids has to have a business as part of their school. And so she wanted to sell a physical product. And so we went around the house and I just was looking for something that we have a lot of. And I've got 2 daughters and a wife, and I saw hairbrushes everywhere. And I said, why don't we find a good hairbrush? And within a week we were selling 10 a day. That's simple. I mean, so to your point about the bathroom, even something as simple as a hairbrush, like with your Alibaba example, is a perfect example of that.
Yep. So right here on Etsy. So there's a thing called a soap loaf. Most people don't realize there's a thing called a soap loaf. So when you make soap, it's a very simple process. So I've just Googled or Etsy'd organic soap loaf.
Got an idea.
So these are literally entire loaves of soap that you can buy. They're pounds. They're like 3 pounds, 3.35 pounds. So if one was so inclined, if you love scented soaps, if your wife is really into it, if this is just something that you get and you're like, I don't want to become a soap maker, perfect. You don't have to. You can buy a loaf of soap. You cut this up into individual pieces. It ends up looking like this, or you can just buy it from them. You make your own brand. Okay. Here's the power. This is the value add part. Brand story, just like my friend who found the salt on the side of the road and sold it through a story, just like Bulletproof Coffee. And I was able to regurgitate his yak story. You build a brand, which a brand is simply a story, wrap it in a fancy little wrapper, put your own brand, your own logo. It's all organic. You can start testing this and selling it on Etsy, on eBay. You can start selling this at local farmers markets. You can go into local shops and you can begin to distribute this to the local boutique markets in your area. And it's all right here. All you got to do is just put the pieces together. But if you don't care about soap, if this isn't something that interests you at all, if like lavender soap, you're like, dude, 0 F's given, that's fine. We will stumble on the one for you as well.
Kevin, turn it back. Put lavender soap back up on it. Tell you.
Oh, yep. Yep, for sure. Go for it. And we are up. So this one, you want to open it?
Yeah. Nope. Just leave it like it is. Right. So here's what's interesting about this. I think the magic, if you want to call it magic, is if you can come up with story first and then make the product after the story, then it is way more powerful. Hustler's Secret, the reason it sells is because I have a real, true, viable, verifiable story about how my trusty Vanna White just brought me some double shot espresso. But this is a real story. It's not made up. It's an interesting, cool story about how I learned that Vaseline takes the side spin off a golf ball. The reason I want to bring up the lavender thing is my wife is highly allergic to lavender. Okay. Like to the point that EpiPen, right? Oh. Throat closing EpiPen. One of the problems that we have that maybe we should solve is when she travels, she has to bring her own soap and hair stuff with her because
everything's got lavender.
Everything in hotels has lavender in it. So how powerful would it be for her if she made a brand or a line of non-lavender products just for the lavender allergic people like her in the world. And she tells the story of all the pain that happens when they tell her there's no lavender in it, and then there is, and she ends up having to give herself a shot because her throat starts closing up, and
Right.
we're in the Ritz-Carlton or some, whatever. Like, how easy would it be for her to sell that? Because anybody who wants to buy it, it's a binary purchase. It's not like
Right.
you're talking them into it. You're offering something that nobody else has.
Right.
That like there's no competition for it. But if she wanted to make it even bigger, how easy would it be for her to call up luxury brands like the Ritz-Carlton and say, hey, I stayed at your hotel last year and used your soap and had an anaphylactic reaction to it and had to give myself an epi shot. And I was told by your front desk person that there was no lavender in your products, and they were clearly wrong. Rather than sue you guys for that, what I'd rather do is become a partner and sell you guys non-lavender soaps for people like me who are allergic to these products that they could request to have in their room as part of their whatever. Do you think the Ritz would like jump all over that? I mean, it might take a little bit of legwork to actually get to the point where they would, purchase big orders, but I bet you, I just can't see how that doesn't work, right?
And if we zoom out a quick level, is problem, solution, story, bingo. Like we're looking, like these are the kind of raw ingredients. Like if we really get into the kind of the Legos that he's snapping together to get to that would be a business model. We could do that. The Legos are problem, solution, story. It all wraps up. I just want to show real quick. So this like rose water one, 12,332 sales of a soap loaf. And keep in mind, no one buys a soap loaf to use at their house, right? Like everyone who buys this is buying this wholesale and literally flipping this in some way, shape, or form, whether they're selling it at their boutique or not. It's everywhere. Okay.
How many bars does one of those make?
Oh, no clue. I would think somewhere between 8 and 12 ounces per bar, 12 ounces per bar. No clue.
Okay.
Math just doesn't work. And literally this is like, so that's the game, right? That's what someone who decides to like, who likes this enough, who's interested enough, that's the game they have to play. It's like, okay, I get this. How big can I cut it? Weigh them? How much? What's the price? Can I sell these for $7 or $4? Like where's the math in this? That's what entrepreneurs do.
Yeah.
And it's taking on a bit of risk, but just by looking around, there's not that much risk. Other people are clearly doing this. You got to get a label made on Fiverr or Upwork or somewhere. You get a label. Like there's things to do, but you create something unique. And I love that you brought it back to story, because when the story is right, I mean, that's why he sells so much of that salt at his exorbitant salt prices, is the freaking story. That's, oh, we found this. It's the best salt in the world. It's hand harvested by these, it's just this is what the local Mexicanos do and have done for almost ever in those areas. It's totally normal in Mexico, in that part of Mexico, roadside salt. You see, it's their normal. And he's like, man, Southern California, San Diego, vegan yoga hipsters don't get that. I'm going to bridge the gap with a story. Bingo. He was on to something huge and very successful business.
I would say one of the real keys to this too is, and this is a mistake that is very common at first, is people want to sell to everybody.
Yep.
And that is probably the biggest mistake that you can ever make in trying to have any business, is trying to sell to everybody. The more you can make it for specifically one person, the more it pre-sells the thing for you just by putting it in front of that person. So like if there's an ad that my wife saw for non-lavender anything, she's a buyer. Yep. Right? Like if it's like, non-lavender hair shampoo, non-lavender soap, non-lavender lotion, all those things, she's a buyer. And so that would be the thing I would tell you as you're thinking about these things, is where's the crossover between the product and the specific use case that makes it like that there's no selling needed. You're just sorting the audience. Then
Yep.
you're sorting, not selling. And sorting is way more powerful than selling, because sorting, you just offer it then because they need it. And so that's just something to think about, is like, if you have any sort of special use cases in your life, those are powerful places to be looking for oil wells.
100%. And dog whistle copy in your sales copy, in your ad, hey, sim racers, like, oh, that's me. I identify with that. My attention is there, right? Like literally capturing it. And it's not because it's a broad thing. Like, hey, person who drives a car, like everybody drives a car. That's not it, right? It's that specificity of like, these people get me. Have you ever had this challenge with lavender soap? Like, oh, are you telling me? Like, let me tell you about my challenge. Bingo. Like, we are now engaged, and it moves things. So carrying on this kind of like, so we're in the bathroom, right? So the cosmetic stuff. I want to show real quick. So Frank Kern has built a brand around his wife and her love for skincare. So this is Katya Love, which is Frank Kern's wife. And they're essentially selling transformation oil, peptide cream, rosehip oil foaming cleanser. Ladies, if you're out there and you're dealing with all of the different skincares because of your personal skincare type, women with oily skin want to know what your solutions are for oily skin. Women with dry skin want to know what your solutions are for dry skin. And there's so much money. Do you think Frank Kern and his wife somehow made this and they're actually packaging it? Absolutely not. There's formulation companies out in the world. There's white label companies that will do all of this. And here's another one. This is called Boom by Cindy Joseph. Cindy Joseph is no longer on the planet, but this is run by Ezra Firestone and the team at Smart Marketer. They do huge amounts of volume. And what they did is they kind of packaged makeup into chapstick tubes, and they are selling, I believe, 8 figures worth of, as he says, it is goop in a jar. Do you think he made this up? Do you think he invented it? Do you think he packages it? Do you think he warehouses it? None of that. Now they're all on trajectories to they want to do big businesses, but if you have a certain skin type and you're not finding the cleansers and you're out to solve that, I guarantee you there's hundreds of thousands of other women who have that same exact problem as you, and you can potentially find your way into an oil well based on these kinds of things. I'm going to stop the share. Shall I carry on to another room in the house since we're doing the tour de casa, or do you have something to say about the baño?
The last thing I'll say about that is the bathroom is where we keep medicine and things like that. And my wife is 50 years old, going through menopause. I'm sure she's excited that I'm sharing that with the world here. But if someone can cure hot flashes, or if you have a remedy for hot flashes, I'm telling you that right now, that's a big business. Like that's another one of these things that like Story would work. If you have a family remedy or something that works for something like that, like we're buyers. We've bought thousands of dollars for the stuff already, and it's not working. So for what it's worth.
And everything from herbal supplement. I mean, even in the supplement world, there's a bunch of white labelable products from everything. So Brendan Burchard, who most people probably know about, he's kind of a high performance coach. He has a nootropic, which is essentially like biohacking, which is like a brain pill, right? People ask me all the time, Miles, how do you get so much done? How do you create so much content? How do you stay so focused? And it's like, well, I just show up and work all the time. But could I take vitamin Bs. I do take some mushroom supplements from this. Oh, okay. Could I formulate my own supplement that becomes my answer to sustainable energy all day? Of course I could, right? If I'm interested in it. And it's these kinds of things. To wrap up in there, I think we talking about clean products, right? Paraben free, SLS free. There's lip balms, anti-aging, wrinkle prevention, things that happen to people later in life that are guaranteed to happen, menopause, wrinkles. Folks want to fix these things, right? But if you're a 27-year-old dude, those aren't the worlds that you want to go into, because there's not going to be a story there, right? So this is where we're going. We're looking for your Venn diagrams. Next, I want to jump into the office. So in the office, journals, calendars, pens, and notebooks are all super simple branded things to create. There are so many gurus out there that sell their own journal type. Michael Hyatt has one. Brendan Burchard has planners. I have friends who have created their own types of journals for very small audiences, because we're getting into the world of print on demand. Okay. Calendars, 12 pictures, 12 months. They do the lower grid part for you. All you got to do is 12 separate pictures, and you can literally get calendars printed at a bunch of different places. Stay awake stuff like 5-hour energy, byproducts of your business. So for example, I've sent over 1,000 emails. One of the byproducts of my business is all of the subject lines I've ever made and their conversion rates. I could package together the things I do here in the office, and I could sell those things. My friend Terry Dean, he sells his email templates. Roberto Blake, who's a successful YouTuber, he sells thumbnails, kind of Photoshop thumbnail design. He sells those to other people wanting to grow on YouTube. I'm going to let you jump on the office stuff because there's a million and one office things. What you got, Kevin?
Yeah. So I have, so Dan Kennedy has this idea that your office and I subscribe to this, that your office should have like curiosities in it, like things that are, that are kind of weird, but they speak to your personality and stuff like that. And so
Disney clocks everywhere.
Yeah. And I've got like, exactly, that's his thing, but I've got like Sheldon, I've got Viking hat, I've got, signed Donald Trump hat, MAGA hat. I've got the thing that you touch that puts the electricity. I've got, Pickle Rick. I've got regular Rick. I've got, all these different curiosities. And so I think that there is a huge market for office knickknacks,
yeah,
and little, Funko type and other stuff. In here, I've got probably thousands of dollars worth of video stuff and audio equipment, and
yes,
the same thing with computers. I've got 5 computers in here right now. And the reason that's important, obviously, you're not going to start a computer company, but there's all kinds of other stuff. And as an affiliate, like I've got cords out the yin yang hooked up in here that you could be an affiliate for. And then special use case things, like I've got this holder that holds my iPad in a tripod that is made by a small company. They make that thing. I've also got an Atlas Shrugged piece of art that I've done. I've got golf art. I've got guitars. I've got cigars. I've got 3 humidors in here with cigars. Cigars are a huge business. And then I've got probably 1,000 books in here. So all sorts of stuff.
I'm going to share my screen because like on the laptop idea, and this is what we're trying to help you understand, is we're not saying start a laptop company, derpa, right? Like that's obviously not where we're going with this. But here you can see, here's 2 print-on-demand companies. So Redbubble is one of them. And what I'm looking at is laptop skins, right? And so these are printed on demand. Somebody just literally hired someone probably on Fiverr to create a laptop skin because someone wants to put a sticker on their laptop to make it something different and to make it unique. And this will go on and on and on. See, some people want to identify with my print-on-demand business. So when they're sitting at the coffee shop, their laptop looks like this. So these are the kinds of things. And then let's go another level is the print-on-demand.
I've got a laptop on the ground with all these stickers on it.
Exactly, right? And at some point, you might want to cover that over with a whole skin. You might want to add more stickers, etc. Print-on-demand laptop sleeves, so you can get these laptop sleeves made as well. And it's just thinking again creatively about the different components, the different things that you're around that you care about. Like, what do you value? Because odds are that other people value these sort of things as well.
Hang on a second. I'm gonna grab something to show you that's in here. He's
got something to show. So what I want you to start to think about here is your curiosities, your interests, your challenges, and then where do those overlap with this identity layer? Okay. So somebody who folds up their laptop, sitting at a coffee shop, they want to say something about themselves. They don't want to just have that logo on their laptop. They want the actual skin to say something. Print-on-demand t-shirts, coffee mugs. If you start to look around on Etsy, you will see just constant ones. You can go, I'll actually show that in a second. Go ahead and show what you got going on.
Yeah. So one of the things I did about 1.5 years, 2 years ago is I had these hats made, make ads great again. And it was just a joke in our office. You know, we were doing a little promo and we all had the hats, and so many people saw them and wanted them that I had to get 500 of these printed up, and we just give them away. But I could easily have this as a business if we wanted to sell them. I get 3 to 4 requests a week for one of these hats, and we just ship them out to people. But so that's, and it's just a joke, right, against the Donald Trump make America great again thing. And so, you know, to your point of little kitschy laptop covers or whatever, you know, this is a perfect example of that. That was just an accidental thing that we did because it was an idea for an ad campaign.
Totally. And right here, so I'm on Etsy and I've just typed in spreadsheet, right? So I'm going to say that there's people in this world who are like spreadsheet people. They love spreadsheets, they love data. And I'm not looking at the spreadsheets, although I will say that you know, people are literally selling XLS files here for, you know, $50 for an XLS file, which is pretty remarkable. But look at this coffee mug right here. Ooh, this calls for a spreadsheet. Okay, we're talking about super simple stuff. Someone who identifies with the kind of person, relax, I've got a spreadsheet for that. This is the kind of mug they want to have in their office. Ooh, this calls for, and then right here, I'm silently creating a spreadsheet for that on a t-shirt. These are print on demand things. No one's getting a bunch of bulk of these made. No one's spending hundreds or thousands of dollars on screen printing and t-shirts and whatnot. They're literally running a printable shop or some other, one of the billions of print on demand shops. And then they're taking what they make in one place and they list it in another. This person literally took a screenshot of an Excel spreadsheet and put it on a mug. Now you might be like, yeah, but Miles, come on, seriously, 5,295 sales at $15 per mug. Like it can add up. And they weren't even running ads on this one. Okay. So
well, that's a cool mug.
Yeah, right. Like it's actually kind of like for the right kind of person. They're like, dude, that's so me. Like wake up with a mug.
I'm getting it. Spreadsheet. I'm gonna get one of those. That's cool.
So these are the kinds of ideas that we're trying to seed. I'm not a spreadsheet guy. I don't love spreadsheets. I don't enjoy spreadsheets. I'm never going to go down that path of wrapping up all these spreadsheet things. So it's like, this is like, we're in the office and it's like, it doesn't have to be the physical things around, although it could be, but it also has the potential of being like, what is the identity within what you do? What is the workflow that you do? And I guarantee there's little memes and shirts and coffee mugs around project managers and marketing ones. And then if you think about traders who spend all day trading, they might want old stock certificates on the wall, or they might like, it's just, there's these identities, and someone who trades would love a candlestick joke on a mug. So when they go down for the open, that's what they want their mug to be, because it says something about them.
Yeah.
And you'll get that when you have that, like that is a level of domain knowledge. You'll get that when you have that identity. Like I could understand some of the things that sim racers would enjoy and some of the things that sim racers wouldn't, because I'm one of them. I'm down that rabbit hole. Whereas me extrapolating what I think a motorcycle rider, I'm not actually in that culture. So that wouldn't be where I would go poking around for oil.
So along the lines of you talking about having like super narrow knowledge about spreadsheets, that's how I've bought all these audio things. Is I watched a video by a guy on YouTube, and he explained how to set up your audio setup, like he had set up his office, and I followed along the tutorial. And at the end, he had links in the description to all of the products that he talked about. So I bought them all, and it was a lot. I mean, it was like $2,000 worth of stuff, maybe 2,500, and he got affiliate commissions on all of it. I don't know what percentage he gets from the different sites, but I would say maybe at least 8%. So he probably made a couple $100 off of me, and he doesn't have to do anything. He just made that video one time. And I tried to set it up once I got it all, and I still can't set it up.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I want to shift to a couple of other ideas, and I'm gonna speed up a little bit through this next part to go through the other rooms, because you, viewer, need to think about this yourself, right? Where are you spending your time? Again, so you're becoming an observer. We are empowering the power of observation. You're becoming a noticer. Gardening has absolutely have a big boom from the 2020 and what we've dealt with. So gardening, camping, and prepping, those whole worlds are absolutely massive. In the garden, there's everything from weeding and the challenges we deal with weeds and pests. But then there's people who have small balconies and they live in apartments and they're doing container gardening, right? I think there's candles are an outdoor possible thing, right? The whole like keeping the pests, like the ability to sit out on your back patio in your garden and not have mosquitoes around. Disciplines, permaculture, hugelkulture, vermiculture, vermicompost, which is literally like having worm bins and letting worms eat your scrap, all the way to composting, right? There's books about composting. There's how to compost, which is making soil. One thing that I've found that I think is really an interesting approach to this kind of business, and I'm going to pull it up real quick, is when you have a little domain knowledge about something nobody else knows about. And this is something that Kevin has done with his Hustler's Secret. So here is a product. Sorry for my delay in pulling this up. This thing is called did I get my whole screen on that one, or do we just have, you got me here?
Yeah,
Yep,
I got you.
You can see it. So this is called a hori hori, okay? This is an absolute unknown thing in the United States of America. It is a Japanese digging knife, and it's cool. It's got like some measurements on it. One side of it is serrated. One side of it's a sharp knife. It's seriously, it is an incredible tool in the garden, all right? As somebody who has a 1/4 acre permaculture garden, I got 30 fruit trees in the ground, and I'm always putting things in. No one in the US knows about this thing. You can dig with it. You can pull out weeds with it. You can cut through roots on a tree with it. You can measure how far apart your seeds go. You can measure how deep the seeds are, and it comes with a little pocket strap on it. And as you can see here, 120 pieces for $5 each, right? And if you're like, oh, I can't spend $500 to test this idea out, well, we can go up to the side here and you can just type in minimum order less than 20, and you could start to fiddle with these settings to find. Now, I knew about this because, I don't know, my wife brought it to my attention, but this is one of those things that I would be looking at and I would be looking for. And if we go over to Etsy and type in, let me go here, Etsy, and look for the exact same item again. So hori hori gardening knife, I'll go with that one, even though it had it pre-populated a number of different ways. You know, these are selling for $37, $40. Obviously some of these are fancy and handmade, but like you can just find the basic ones are selling for, I mean, upwards of $60+. This one's $84 for the gift set approach to it. And I mean, we're looking at possibly finding them over here for $7 a piece, right? And you buy two.
Look up spittoon on Alibaba and see if they sell those.
I guarantee you there's spittoons in here. That's awesome. A dentist chair. Let me maybe throw tobacco spittoon on there. See if that pulls it up. No, all right.
Are we spelling spittoon correctly? I don't even know.
I think so.
Two T's.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, my 1880s paraphernalia for Wild Westness. So they still call that. It looks like dentistry still actually calls that what it is.
Scroll it down.
But you're looking for like the old Western style thing, right?
Yeah. So I bought some of those off Etsy, and I was wondering if they
got them from here.
Yeah. Look up brass spittoon. See if that's.
And this is the, oh, I got an S in front of that. This is the big idea here again is. The big idea here again is to start to pay attention to what you're buying, what you've got around, where this stuff all comes from.
Okay.
And sometimes it's a match, sometimes it's not, right? Like it's this kind of research.
So maybe they didn't buy them off.
Maybe they didn't buy it from here. Maybe they found another vendor. Maybe there's some US vendor. Like maybe
I paid $100 a piece for 2 spittoons for my cigars outside on our outside patio because I don't want ashes everywhere.
Right.
And I didn't want the dogs getting into them. And so, it's an interesting thing. Cigars is another deep niche that you can go down the rabbit hole on.
100%, right? People want their paraphernalia to say something about them, right? To say something about them, the lifestyle they're after, the whole world of it. And also when you have a cigar smoker in your world, it's an easy place to go get a gift. Oh, look, a gift set for that cigar smoker in my life. The wife may buy that for the husband. It's not always a direct transaction with the individuals, right? Sometimes we're selling to the folks who want to gift them something, et cetera, et cetera.
That's right.
So garden camping gear, oh my god, like camping overlanding is absolutely massively popular, and if you get it, you get it. Everything from foldable shovels, knives, flashlights, headlamps, all of these things are actually able to be purchased in one place, and you can start to test the offers. You can start to reverse engineer what's working. I think patio life is something that's kind of already come up several times, but then you get into the barbecue, right? And the smokers. And so print on demand aprons are available for, the old kiss the chef thing, right? But these little one-off smoker jokes that someone who runs a smoker, who's got a brisket out for 8 hours, they get it. They want an apron that says something about them. So when they have the big barbecue at their house, they put on their apron and they get a laugh. And they're willing to spend $24, $37, $18 on Etsy, or their wife who wants to get the joke for the husband and he loves his smoker a little too much. Like you're facilitating that moment for them. Print on demand. You go sign up for a print on demand account. You go get a design done on Fiverr. You put it together, you list it on Etsy, you give it a test. Can you get lightning to strike? That's the question, right? And we're just looking for those circles. But you had something, Kevin.
Well, I was just going to say, and just with the barbecue thing, we don't have one now because we just moved here, but in California, I bet I had 20 different kinds of rubs and seasonings that I bought that were the smaller and less professional it looked, the more I wanted it. Like, in other words, if it looked like it was something that some dude was printing and making in his garage, that's the one that I wanted to buy, not the, big A1 rub, because those are formulated, right? I wanted somebody's secret recipe. And so I would buy all those and test them. Anytime there was one that looked kind of ghetto and homemade, I bought it. So
right here, I want to point out this one down here. I only cook high, right? Quality ingredients. So this is a joke for weed smokers. Okay. So here's the overlapping circles. I barbecue, I got my smoker, I smoke weed. Like literally we're finding, like, there's so many overlapping circles here that when somebody who gets it or their wife or husband gets it, it becomes an, oh my goodness, I have to get that for so-and-so.
That one down right here. I like my whiskey. Oh, you went to, I like my whiskey and my smoker and maybe three people. That speaks to me.
That's you, 100%, right? And so again, and if you even notice, I want people to like really observe this. Like most of these, this is not a real human being wearing a real smoker. Okay, this is all photoshopped together. So they're not even ordering a demo version. Now, so we're looking at a smoker. Okay, so a smoker is a subset of a barbecuer. Obviously, people in the know get that. But there's another thing called a green egg, the big green egg, which is all the rage. So let's go green egg. And I'm trying to help you understand that these overlapping circles. Put that in your egg and smoke it. Okay, for a green egg user, they get it. Let me go back here. Put that in your smoker and smoke it. Picture of a smoker. Here we have a picture of a green egg. And like, I hope I hope you're getting the potential here and the ability to sign up for a free print on demand, go get a few designs from Fiverr because you got this clever idea, list it on another marketplace. Again, I want you to see they're running ads. They didn't just sit on their hands. Okay, I listed it, I put it out there. Let me just wait and see if someone finds it. You're a brand new vendor, you're untested, you have no authority, you haven't triggered their algorithm at all. They're paying a little bit of money to get up there. They have made 3,192 sales of this for $20. And the theory here that I'm operating from is the cost of the design, the cost of the actual print, and the cost of the ad is going to be less than $20. Or else, at some point in 3,192 sales, they'd have been like, I'm losing money on these. I should turn this ad off. But they haven't. Yeah. So therefore, theoretically, we can make a relatively educated guess that this is at some level working. Now, are they making $50 a month from this? Are they making $500 from this? I don't know, and I don't care. It's working. They're an entrepreneur. They're in the freaking game. They're doing the work, and this little cash flow is just going to run. And then what do? Next. What's my next one? What's the next idea? Where's that next overlap? And it's going to be easier if this person really does know smokers and the Weber silvers and they know barbecues. They'll be able to come up with dozens and dozens of little variations of these that target super specific keywords on this one specific platform. I think we're making this point clear.
A question for you, because I
Sure.
haven't done Etsy maybe as much as you have. Is Etsy like Amazon where you don't get to keep the customer, or do you get to
Correct.
keep the customer?
Nope. It is Etsy's customer.
So
But
so
there's,
how do you mail it out
yep.
to them if they keep the customer?
Yep. So there, let me go. I'm going to pull up one here. So let me share my screen.
Do they give you
again.
their address and name at least, and you have to mail it out that way, or how does that work?
Yep. And then, so let me go, let's look at this. What was this one called? It was a budgeting spreadsheet. I believe it was a budgeting spreadsheet. I'm going to see if I can find this on the fly. So,
Yeah.
a simple monthly budget. It was one of these, and it had a bonus. So the ultimate, I think I had the word ultimate, and it was an ad. So sometimes they turn on and off their ads. So one of these, the ultimate bookkeeping tool, one of them had a free video that was included, and you can deliver a free video. You got a landing page that has an opt-in, and it's like, okay, great, you purchased, enter your email address, your name, and your order number type thing on a landing page, and then you force them to get the bonus or the upgrade type thing. So on a Weber smoker, you could offer like desktop backgrounds. I'm abstracting aggressively in the moment, but you think of a digital upgrade, a digital thing that you can offer them, and then it can be kind of bundled together inside
A
of here.
video, yeah, a video of how to cook the meat, right?
Right. A plus a bonus of our 10 best, our 10 favorite ebook that has our 10 favorite recipes for the big green egg type thing. So it's thinking about that, like, where's that bridge ultimately. Don't worry about that yet for the viewer, right? Kevin, you're like 2-3 steps ahead. You get it. You're like, okay, but where's my customer list and who owns? I get, but right now, like, can you get lightning to strike? Yes.
Yep.
Can you get lightning to strike every day for a couple of weeks straight? Yes. Okay, we are on to something, because technically you could scale the whole business on here. There are people making full-time income just scaling these kinds of random things right here on Etsy. So I want to just show this since it's here. All-in-one weekly income expense bookkeeping. So these are bookkeeping tools. These are literally Excel spreadsheets. Okay, so this is just a single spreadsheet. You could probably have this spreadsheet designed by someone on Fiverr, on Upwork for $50, $100, 2,100 sales of something that costs nothing to deliver once it's built. Literally, there's no cost of goods sold in the apron itself here, right? And what's $16 times 2,100 sales? $30,000. Am I doing that math on the fly right? It's over 30. It's $32,000, right? Like $35,000.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So these are just kind of like they're everywhere. And Kevin and I see them everywhere. And now you're getting the magical ability. Pit Boss outdoor kitchen. Water features is another thing for patio life barbecue. There's a whole world of, that would be like an Alibaba middleman kind of a game. Then we get into the garage and the man cave. So this is where, like, man, there's so much potential artwork, the old style signs, the patinaed signs, they're all being made new, and they're made new to look like the patina. And then there's all of the man caves, the sport man cave. Like, there's a million and one things that fit into that world that are hanging on the walls. They're trinkets on the shelves. They're trinkets on the bookshelves. They're the branded bottle openers. It's just, it's incredible the number of things that are sold in that world. I would recommend just going on Etsy, even looking around on Etsy, just searching man cave and seeing like the types of things. If you're a man cave person, if you don't have a man cave, you don't care about sports, if that's not your game, obviously that makes sense. Sleep, bedroom. I think when you get into the world of sleep, you're getting really, really big time into a problem solution thing that a lot of people deal with. So there's white noise, there's audios, there's CDs, there's MP3s, there's everything from hypnosis. There's a whole digital world all the way into the organic weighted blankets, the blue glasses to block out blue light in the evening. There's a million and one things. If you're into and you focus on that kind of on that kind of thing, right? If that's a challenge you're dealing with, or if that's something you've overcome in your life, there's your domain knowledge. You can help the other people who are looking for what would help them fall asleep quicker, stay asleep longer, all the way up to supplements. And wow. What you got? You got anything on that?
Yeah, I would say back to man cave and garage.
Yep.
just walk through your garage and look at everything that's in there. Like in our garage, we've got a golf cart, 3 motorcycles, a Tesla, saddles, all sorts of paraphernalia for all of those things, right? And like like my daughter's saddles, because she rode horses competitively, that's an amazing market to sell into, and there's a million and one things you could sell to horse people.
And they're used to spending lots of money because horses are expensive.
That's right. The motorcycles, golf carts, like all these things are like there are little pockets that you can fall into in that world. And you don't have to sell licensed merchandise. You can sell things that just speak to those people, right?
Yeah.
And if you are one of those people, you probably have some ideas about what those things are. Like one of the coolest things that I have is I have all these different keychains for each one of my motorcycles. And it's like the long luggage type keychain for, that the pilots at the airport have. And those are easy to make. Like those are on Facebook Marketplace every time I go on there, right?
Yep.
And so those are the kind of things that I think are super easy to do. I think that, like you were saying about health and sleep and all that stuff, there's a million and one directions you can go with that. I would say also business stuff. If you like you're showing those spreadsheets, but if you have like certain specific business knowledge, but our knowledge because of your business, like those are things that are useful. Like say you were a tax accountant or something like that, then there's probably little things that like budgeting tools or things like that you could sell. Or if you were a plumber, you could maybe sell something to lower the water bill every month. Like there's little templates, tools, ideas, and tricks. It doesn't have to be a full course that people will buy. Like there's a guy in the digital oil wells program right now who is selling a report on your water, like that will analyze what's in your water. And then after that, on the back end of that, he sells a $4,000 water filtration system.
Yep.
So there you go.
And you mentioned the CPA, and this is one that I've known. So essentially, they're selling how to 2x your business. Okay, like know exactly how to 2x your business. Oh, that sounds exciting. What is it? It's a spreadsheet. It's literally a $7 spreadsheet, and that's it. It's got a few tabs at the bottom you can see, and he's a CPA, and this is just what he walks his clients through. I believe he has a full-on a business that goes as far as a $500 course and then some one-on-one stuff as well. So for him, this is kind of a front-end loss leader, but it just shows he's leveraging his CPA knowledge. He's creating a new offer. He's selling it here. I think he should be testing it on Etsy with calls to action embedded in the spreadsheet, because it's pretty easy to put a link and an offer in a spreadsheet, but that's kind of neither here nor there. In the man cave, one thing that just popped in mind while you were talking was darts. And I was like, oh yeah, darts, that's a thing, right? So like I'm in the man cave, I'm observing, I'm like, darts. Oh, my friends and I love playing darts. My wife happens to be really freaking good at darts. I'm not gonna make darts. I'm not gonna make dart boards, but when I just type in darts here on Etsy, you can see up top, we've got dart gifts. If I scroll down, you got dart socks, but over here you've got shirts, and there's like a whole section of shirts. And these are all pretty much all print on demand, right? They took the firefighter logo and they just literally put something that dart people know about, right? 180 heartbeats. This is stuff that I don't really know, but dart folks know exactly what these things mean. I think 180 might be the triple 20 3 times. So, okay, I guess I do know what that means, but this is like just on and on and on. These are all around the darts. And when we look up again at the ones here that are selling up top, you can see the number of reviews there. I'm going to click on this and we will see it's more than the reviews. 2,460 of these have sold. It literally is the word darts with a couple of things like negative into the letters, like pretty simple stuff. And I love that you mentioned horses a minute ago, and we got horse shirts showing up like literally right here. So the idea is kind of, it's perpetual. Like there is a million and one things. kind of touched on the finances stuff, right? Everything from budgeting, paying off debt, all of this gets into the world of spreadsheets. People buy spreadsheets all of the time. It's almost like a super micro SaaS because they can run those formulations for you. But it's like, if you use those, if you track those things, there other people have and find value in that. And then I love farmers markets. I love supporting local businesses in my local communities. I love going into new communities and checking out their farmers markets. And again, looking around, what do you see? There's always a soap vendor. There's always one, and they're selling those bricks of soap. Bee people, honey people, beeswax, lip stuff, candles, soy candles, candles with funny labels on them, beeswax candles, scented candles, candles with essential, like, so there's candles, but then there's all those micro subsets of those, birdhouses, kombucha, honey jams. That's really it. So from the external looking around approach, that's my deep dive. I do want to briefly talk about the different marketplaces. But with that said, we've covered a lot of ground. What do you think, and what's your take at this point from, or what's the big takeaway they need to be thinking about from here?
I would say go deep and targeted as far as you can, and then start working backwards from that versus going broad and starting to narrow in. In other words, think about something that is so unique and specific that you think, man, I'm the only person that would ever buy that. And that might be a great place to start and product, because you'll find out that there's a lot of people like you that would buy that. And like I can't stress enough that you will have a difficult time if you're too broad. But if you're too narrow, then it becomes easy to loosen it up a little bit and sell to more people than it is to figure out how to sell something that's too broad because nobody wants it. You leave that to Walmart, right? You're a niche vendor is maybe a way, or a niche merchant is a way to think of yourself, not a mass market merchant. Like, you are serving a small, narrow sliver. Like with Hustler's Secret, I'm not serving all golfers. I tell them in the sales letter that this is against the rules of golf. You are not going to be able to use this in tournament golf. And how I do it is I tell the story from Caddyshack of Judge Schmales versus Al Chervik. You know, it's Rodney Dangerfield versus Ted Knight. And I'm like, if you got to stick up your ass and you're a rules stickler and you're thinking all this stuff, then go ahead and leave the page right now. But if you just want to hit the ball long and straight and have fun, gamble with your buddies, smoke some stogies, then this is for you, right? And so the point is that this is a very small niche of people who will buy this, not all golfers. And right. It's the same way with what you, the person watching this video, need to sell. You need to go as narrow as you can possibly think of it first and make the sales there, and then broaden it as you run out of customers.
Absolutely. And then I would also say, when you think you're too narrow, go look at a couple of marketplaces, and you're going to just see like, oh my gosh, there's a plethora of stuff going on here. And when you get that narrow, when you're so specific, the pay-per-click and the competition becomes just thinner and thinner and thinner. And it allows someone like you to just start testing those offers. And that's like what actually converts on a very regular basis. So I'm going to go over here on my screen. You've seen me around Etsy an absolute ton, but I do want to make sure that you know that, yes, you can search up top. That is obviously one of the ways to go, but you can also hover over here and you can get down into some of these different rooms that we were talking about, right? Didn't even talk about storage and organization, like the whole Marie Kondo and the things, and like, it's forever, but literally they have bathroom, they have office, they have these things. So if you're like, man, I feel like it's something in the kitchen, I feel like it's something outdoor, like I love being outdoor, I live half outdoor life all my time. So we're now here, and you can go farther into these subsets. Okay. And as we go down, we've got the categories over here. Obviously, you can go into this whole world. I'm loving this little planter pot that is a sloth, by the way. So birding, maybe you see this here and you're like, oh, birding, I love bird feeders, I love all of that stuff. It's just, we're idea generating is what we're looking for you to get up to enough of an idea of something to test and to look into. Gumroad is more for digital files. So if people are selling PDFs, people are selling MP3s, people are selling spreadsheets, you can get some great ideas on here. And a lot of times you'll find that people on Gumroad aren't actually selling on Etsy. So I'm going to just type in like, let's do budget. So like that whole idea of budgeting spreadsheets. So I can get in here and we can see what's working on Gumroad, and you can start to flip back and forth to between the different offers and between the different platforms. And so I can look at what's working here, what's the highest reviewed thing over here, what's working over there, what's the highest reviewed thing over here. Now, Gumroad doesn't really have an audience like Etsy does. So this is somewhere you would need to bring your audience, or you would run your own traffic on like Facebook ads or YouTube ads to a landing page where you sell it on your own. So that's one of the challenges here, but it's just, again, it's just idea generation. And if you go from this discover tab, and then you actually like drill in through I'm going to take off budgeting in order for that to work. Sorry. So if I drill in by category, it's actually going to show me what the absolute best selling things are in all of these different categories. So books and writing, crafts and DIY. So we can see like, what are the crafty things that are actually selling? DIY bar plan is selling really well, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of a way. Then if you're in the, oops, I actually just did something goofy. There we go. So if you're in the courses world and you want to get into courses and you're like, I have domain knowledge, I want to sell like a course, I want to teach people stuff. I don't personally think that Udemy is the best place long-term for you to sell courses on, because there's just some platform challenges, but you can find out what's working. And you can not only find out what's working on some of these things. So I'm in health and fitness, I'm under sports. Oh, let's go nutrition. I'm all over the place. Like literally ketogenic diet, gut health, right? So we're not even in the main weight loss thing, but I'm going to look at what is working in the gut health world. I can not only see what's actually working in here, but you can get in, you can see their entire outlines for their entire products. It would be down here. So you could see like the full, like this is literally like, this is the outline for their entire product, like literally. So what's going on here? Is there anything like this on other platforms? You need to be an expert on this before you go down this route, but I'm trying to help you understand where all these ideas can come from. We looked into Gumroad, one of the last places. So there's still going to be somebody out there, and I can hear them, and they're like, oh, I can't think of anything. I don't know anything to do. And that's a lack of creativity. And know that you'll get better at observing these things as you go on. But there's always the ultra simple, buy something in one place and sell it in another place. And I'm on shopgoodwill.com. If you didn't know, Goodwill has an entire auction website. I'm looking at 8 pounds of Legos here for like $10, 17 pounds of Lego here, right? So that I just searched Lego LBS for Legos by the pound. So Goodwill sells these giant batches of 25 pounds of Legos, right, for $10.99. And then you go look over on eBay, and I could scroll down a little bit and I could see 1 pound of Legos is selling for $13. Okay. So let's do the math here. 1 pound selling for $13 here. I can get 18 pounds for $64 there. There's margins in this. 25 pounds for $10.99 here. That auction goes away today. Like 25 pounds at $12.99 a pound, $400, give or take, $300. So there's some legwork in here. I'm not saying this is the starting place. I'm not saying that, I'm not recommending everyone does this, but your local thrift stores, your local garage sales, your local everything, in your closet, in the bins in the back of your closet, there are things that you don't value anymore that other people value. There's knowledge that you have that you don't even realize other people value. You got to find it. And it takes work, and you got to dig in. And sometimes it's just getting into the motions of, I'm going to sell those old Legos. I'm going to buy this and sell this over here. I'm going to try this. I'm going to do something. Jump on the print on demand. I love darts enough to go down that rabbit hole. Whatever it is, you got to get into motion. You got to kick the ball into motion. And ultimately, you got to start testing things. And you're going to be putting up offers. You're going to be making offers to people. When you leverage marketplaces that have traffic already, the Facebook marketplace, these places, they want to give you attention. And then you're testing with easy to fulfill products is one of the best ways to go about it. You set yourself up to do a lot of testing very inexpensively, looking for the lightning strikes. I feel like I've rambled a lot here, Kevin. Let's reel it in. What are we done? Have we beat this thing up enough, or do you have any wisdom?
The only other thing I would say is, part of being a good noticer and doing this and becoming sort of this, niche merchant type person is it doesn't have to be affinity based for you. Like, in other words, my daughter and I were selling boar bristle hairbrushes. And the reason we were selling those is because they were in high demand. And it was something I noticed. I have no affinity to hairbrushes, but it is a thing. And I'm sure somebody could start that business today and have it doing well. And so my point is that, that's it. Ours was a wooden handle. So but yes, we're buying them for about $1 and 30-40 cents, something like that. It's like the third one down there. That was
Like
it right there. Yep, just like that. And we were selling those for $10 a piece. And then the idea was that let's see if they're on there.
Like, I just can't not do this over and over. And at some point there's this question of like, this is why we're teaching this. We're not oversaturating what Kevin and I are doing. We're not competing with ourselves. We're teaching you how to think like an entrepreneur, because when Kevin and I look at stuff like this, I don't care what it is. I could go make a $5,000, $10,000 a month business in freaking any one of these. I just don't care about hairbrushes at freaking all.
Yeah.
But you can just see, like, I'm just literally looking at the
like scroll down numbers. A little bit.
Like there's, yep.
So that one on the bottom right, the one that they have for $36.99. That's the brush.
Yep.
That's just like the brush we were selling.
Yep. And that's so with 1,600, 7,280 sales. Yep. This is not paid. So they may have paid in the past, but this was an organic click is what I just did here. So this brush, and it probably comes with this little stand here. Like, I mean, can we even find, let's go here. So we're looking at like $1 a piece, $2 a piece. Can I even find a $10 wholesale item? I don't even think I can find that here, right? They're literally, brushes are $2 each. And I saw a bunch of these style right here. I saw these over here as well. Let me go back on this.
Yeah, they've got their little logo on it, but you can get the company in China to do that. And 100%. And so, that's it. And my point is in saying that is that you can learn to love a market when it's making you 10 grand a month.
That's very true.
On autopilot, right? So the reason I say that is just to say that if you're not a person who is 50 years old with 10 different unique hobbies in your life, you can still find things to sell. You don't have to have like all these things going on. If you're younger, or maybe you aren't at a point in your life where you're able to afford to have a lot of hobbies, right? You can find things that people are spending money on by being a good noticer and sell those and make this work. So that's the only thing I would add is I know a lot of the things we've talked about is affinity type things to the market, but it doesn't have to be that.
It's very true. And look, everybody's got to do something for money, straight up. I've waited tables. I was a tire technician. I was a machinist, just covered in oil and shavings from aluminum parts. I waited tables. That's the worst job in the world. Like, hungry people are horrible. Like we all have to do something for money. And when I look at that spectrum of the things I've done, buying and selling stuff in hairbrushes, for example, which I was just kind of like mocking that I have no interest in, I'd rather do that than bust tires again and get covered in asbestos filled brake dust, right? I've done some nasty stuff. I've had to clean up fiberglass. Like, I've worked construction. Like, I've had all these terrible jobs. So in the grand scheme, simply treating this purely mathematical and going and looking and having two screens opening, just going back and forth like I was just doing, and looking for that arbitrage opportunity, looking for things that have thousands of reviews. And you're like, dude, they're buying this over here on this site. Perfect. Like you can play this game so mathematically, and that just becomes a research game. And if you're like, I don't know what I like, great, cool. Dig in, spend the time doing the freaking research and find what you think has a mathematical high probability of being a good first shot. And then once that first shot's up, don't sit on your freaking hands. Make sure you're running ads to this thing and do it again and again and again. If you have a 10% hit rate, that means you got to try 10 things and one thing's going to hit. Odds are you're going to have a better than 10% hit rate. And if you do this long enough, your hit rate is going to become way better than 10% hit rate on these little things. Some of them make you $50 a month, some make you $500. It all stacks up, and you just start stacking cash flows. You just start plucking the oil wells in and building your little oil field. That is how successful entrepreneurs build businesses that are based on multiple streams of income that come from multiple platforms that use digital products and physical products. And we have this diversity in what we're doing to where we're safe, we're secure. Eventually, you'll find some things are more fun to deal with than others. Some logistics you'll find are a pain in the ass. And you're like, I don't need to do that anymore. This stuff seems to work better, right? So out of every hit that you get, 1 in 10 of your hits, something about it's going to really click. It's either fun, it's inspiring, or it just is an outlier and does better than all of the other hits. And you're just building this kind of bucket, this collection of assets, of these little cash flows that you build over time. Testing, and a lot don't work. And then you get a bunch that do work. And some of the ones that do work way better and or are more fun and offer you better lifestyle. Do more of what works. And in this process, you build the skills that this is literally being an entrepreneur in today's day and age.
Yeah. I, when I started with building out these passive assets, it was back in like 2005-06 timeframe. My goal with it at the time was to build 50 things that each made $1,000 a month profit.
Brilliant.
And that was how I started. And so I started building a new one every week. And the third one I built scaled up to where it was doing over 6 figures a month in sales.
Right.
And it was like, and it personally made me 30 to 40K a month in net profit after taxes and everything for the last 15 years. So that is how it works. It's like, it's not like you're going to build one thing that's going to be the thing, but if you set it out your mind to build 50 things that are each going to make you a small return, eventually you're going to hit a few that are just like really, really good. And then that changes your whole life.
If you go to bat and you aim for singles and you aim for singles and you aim for singles, every once in a while you're going to crack one off and it just happens, right? Yep. It just happens.
I had no idea. Would have never guessed in a million years.
So
either.
My wife and I have some offers that we run that are still running, that are perpetually running, that do so well. And we had no clue, even after selling to this audience for 10 years, we had no clue that was going to just catch fire the way it did. And boy, it just went. And it's through the fact that we've tested 200 plus offers from $700 to $600 to this audience. It's the fact, it's the number of tries, it's the number of iterations, it's the number of offers we've made over a long period of time that allowed this magic we didn't even realize during the creation process to happen. And then the last thing I want to reiterate for people, first of all, like, congratulations, high five on making it this far. And I know this stuff is deep, but like, this is the alternative to, I paid $50,000 to go to college for an entrepreneurship program, and they didn't teach me any of this stuff. They didn't teach me how to entrepreneur. So you're going through at that level. This is not the finish line. Like, I am not here trying to tell you that, like, okay, here's your whole business. Just sell print on demand stuff on Etsy, or just buy stuff on Alibaba and sell it over. That is not the end point. This is the starting point. We're looking to get you phase 1, lightning strike, to phase 2, to consistent lightning strike. When you start to dial these bits and pieces in and you're like, okay, this audience likes this sort of thing, we can scale this stuff through your own landing pages, through traffic on Facebook, traffic on YouTube. The scale potential in today's world is there. This is literally just, can you create something or offer something? It's about offering. Can you make an offer to a marketplace that they value enough to pull out their credit card and buy? And then can we do it consistently to where you're proving daily sales over time? When you get there, phase 3 of this is where, like, this is where Bulletproof Coffee and Dollar Shave Club, they're like, no, we want to be, this is where Organifi decided that affiliate marketing on ClickBank was how he gets to a $10 million per year plus business. You can get there. The pathway, the stair set goes that high if you so choose. But again, starting point, this can be the full business for you if you're comfortable and it works. If you're more ambitious, or if you just catch something that is just ready to scale, that's why we have traffic coaches in here. That's why we have our funnel coaches in here. That's why we have all of that higher level stuff. But we got to get you guys up to like where you really truly are an entrepreneur. You're making offers that other people value and that people are buying, and you're getting cash flow every single day. Until we crack that nut, we don't need to go on to the next stuff, but we will go on to the next stuff because that's what we're here to do.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're willing to commit to the 50 for 50 thing that I had as the idea back then, you cannot fail. If you're willing to try to build 50 businesses that make $1,000 a month, just keep building each, just keep trying new things. You cannot fail. You'll something will hit for you and your life will be changed forever.
And a diversity. If you're going to go that approach, I 100% agree. And make sure a couple of things are in the kitchen, a couple of things are in the man cave, a couple of things are in the garden, like spread out, a couple of things are print on demand, a couple of things are physical, maybe a couple of digital product, like spread it out, because that allows you to, I don't know which one of these is going to be my home run, but I'm gonna get some singles. I'm gonna get some cash flow. I'm going to build my identity. I'm going to build my confidence in the process. I'm going to get skills, and just literally the law of large numbers takes over.
That's right. Love it.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for making it through to the end. Kevin, thank you again for your time, for showing up and dropping bombs.
So good, man.
It was. And I'm excited for what we got coming up next. We'll see you on the next video.
Awesome.